Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to one more edition of Politics and Radam Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Lupita, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great.
You're doing great. You know, I thought when I came in today and I'm listening to, ¿cómo se dice? Latino,
Jazz Latino.
And I'm like, where is the other voice on Jazz Latino? I missed it.
I tried my best to get here on time, but work scheduled me until 2, which is the exact time that it ends. But hopefully next week I'll try to be back for the whole show. If not, at least an hour of it.
At least an hour of the show. You know, I could see that Juan, you're listening, Juan? Juan was kind of like lost, you know what I mean? He wanted El Quería Lupita, man. But anyhow, how was your week?
It was good. Just tired because I work retail, so you know what's coming up this Friday.
Oh, you're going to be working pretty hard.
Yeah, I work 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Oh, well, I feel for you. You're going to kick it. But you know what? Don't forget, you had such a great time. Where again?
Oh, in Cancun.
So,
it was great.
Hey, it was a good time. But we're going to have a great show for you guys today, folks. We are going to have a great show. And I have a surprise guest. You know, I was speaking to my friend, and he was telling me about some stuff that he wanted to do. Not only wanted to do stuff that he was doing because he did it already. And we were talking, and I'm like, hell, come into the studio on Tuesday. Francisco Melendez, how you doing, hermano?
I'm doing great. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, I mean,
really happy to be here.
Let me tell you, happy to be here. What you're doing is great, man. Let me tell you, the thing about it, it's not only that it's this time of the year, right? It's that just doing something good for people, I think, is so important. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing. Don't tell us a complete story because I want to get into the show, and then we'll kind of finish her off.
Well, we're just trying to give some gifts to the kids that they don't really have the opportunity to open the gifts, and we want to give them that chance to enjoy the excitement to open it, real gift, not just give it to them, and also giving some words where they can think that they deserve it for a reason because they're going to be great when they grow up. So
right.
We're going to try to help them to think that they really get into their mind that they're really going to do great when they grow up.
Now, this is the second year that you're doing this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, we're going to get into that before. Now, did you get your thing hooked into the... Actually, you know what? That goes into the... You can plug that... Oh, wrong one. Yeah, you have to get a different plug. You have to use that one then. Anyhow, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. Title of the show today is Free Stuff. Free Stuff. No. We want what we earned. It's the wealthy and corporatists who get free stuff. Okay, so what the program is really going to be about. Both Republicans and centrists are demeaning those who want middle-class centric policies with the free stuff trope. It is nothing but a projection from the top. Why is the free stuff moniker so powerful? It creates the false belief that someone or some group is getting something for free that is either taken away from you or you have to work hard to pay for with your hard-earned dollars. They are successful in doing this because they set the initial narrative that they want you to believe. They want you to believe that if you can put in your psyche that those folks are just looking for free stuff, then that free stuff, you would no longer want the programs that you know are best for the middle class, the programs that you know are best for the poor. Just like Francisco Melendez is doing right now. He's doing some important work here to give people, kids, hope, give them a gift, right? But, the question is, why is it that he has to do that? Because there are others that are taking more than their own. So the Franciscos of the world are coming in to kind of make life better for others. But anyhow, folks, before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig on Mondays at 3 p.m.
And of course, there's Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and crew on Mondays at 6 p.m.
And then, you know what, my good old favorite, one of my favorites, Jazz Latino Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its very best, hosted by
Juan Flores and occasionally me, Lupita.
You don't have to say occasionally me, Lupita.
I've been slacking. I've been slacking.
Yeah, but again, you've been slacking for... why did I even pick up the word? You haven't been slacking. You've been working, girl. You've been doing...
I'd rather be here, though.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I know, and you know what? And trust me, the people at the other end of the airwaves, they rather you be here. They want to hear that voice. Anyhow, and then we have, of course, Generation Radio, a weekly radio program featuring an eclectic mix of Asian, underground, Bagra, Bollywood, funk, Hindi, Rai, where ancient sounds meet future beats.
And that's Tuesdays at 4 to 6 p.m.
And that is a show right after this. And if you want to have good music, the kind of good music that I listen to on my way back to Kingwood, it's Generation Radio. Anyhow, folks, check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station. So please, 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 please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, visible, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by whom?
The corporatocracy.
The corporatocracy. Folks, we have got to remember that. This is not cliche. This is true. Unless we get this job done, unless progressives win. And you know what? Before I get back into talking with Francisco, I have a bone to pick. I shouldn't say a bone to pick. I have an apology first. I think I have an apology. And I'm not sure yet. I have to do some more reading. But Common Dreams today reported, and Politico today reported, that brother President Barack Obama implied that if Bernie Sanders took off in the polls, that he would have to get involved to ensure that Bernie Sanders was not the nominee of the Democratic Party. For those of you, let me take my host hat off for a minute. You know that I was a delegate in Philadelphia for Bernie Sanders, but I'm going to put my host hat back on. Here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal. If Barack Obama really, if those news reports are true, that President Barack Obama, the person I voted for twice, the person I campaigned and worked hard twice, the person that I said, I believe that hope and change is what America really needed. I believed all those things. Not only I believed it, I live it. We live it. We believe in hope and change. That's why Francisco is out there doing the work he's doing, because we believe in change. We believe in doing the things that need to be done. If he really said that, the notion of being captured by the plutocracy, by the oligarchy, by the corporatocracy would have been complete. This is somebody that when a lot of my very young supporters would tell me, Egberto, you are just too much in support of this guy, but he is really a corporatist as well. And I'm like, no. He's playing the game. You have to play the game a certain way to get what you want to get done. But if this guy was really going to go out of his way to stop Bernie because he had too many progressive values, if he was really out to stop, as the article also states, Elizabeth Warren, we have a problem. Washington, we have a problem. So I am not going to quite give my apology to my young brothers and sisters who told me, Egberto, we have to drop cold turkey. I'm going to wait. So brothers and sisters, if for some reason I was wrong, I'm going to come on these airwaves and tell you, sorry, I apologize. But for what it's worth, I think we're all making up for it right now. But anyhow, I want to talk to Francisco a bit before I get to the phones. I'm coming to you, but I want to talk to Francisco because he's doing some important work out there. Francisco, so tell me, what is it that, first of all, what's the name of your organization?
The organization name is Big Dreams Little Kids Foundation.
And what do you do?
What we do, I'm barely started on it, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to give these kids help, and the way to do it is just, I look at it how people help, because a lot of people helps the kids on this
time of the year. Yeah.
Like on Christmas, they're giving bicycles and all that stuff.
Right.
But I see the way they do it, they just, throwing the toys to the kids. And really, I think the kids needs more about hope. It's just a gift. They love to open the gifts, but they want to, more than a gift, they want to feel like love. And the way to do that, you feel good giving a toy to a kid, but giving a hug, talk to them and tell them that they're the best, cry with them if they're crying. I think that's more important than just a gift, than just a toy.
So your organization collects a whole lot of toys. I imagine, do you collect donations as well to go buy toys as well, or?
I prefer toys. This year, I'm going to be more what do you call it? I'm going to try to use Amazon.
Right.
So people can just go on Amazon and buy a toy.
And then give it to you, send it to you.
Or send it to me. That way it's easy.
Right.
There can be stuck on traffic here in Houston.
Right.
They can just look for a toy, $10 to $15 toy, and just look on Amazon, buy it, and send it to me.
Okay, I tell you what. So tell people how can they really help you right now? What do they need to do if they want to help you?
Well, right now what we need is toys. Right now what we need is toys. But another thing that I want to talk about is not just because Houston is big. It's
huge.
It's huge.
Right.
And we have I didn't even know. I even talked to people, to my real estate, Jorge, I forgot his name. His last name. But I was talking to him about this foundation, and then he told me, do we have kids that they need help? I was like,
wow.
And I'm not lying to you. It's hard to believe, but we do have a lot of kids. We have a lot of kids that lives in shelters on CPS that they taken from the parents.
Right.
We have a lot of kids that they really need our love. They really need that love from the older people.
Right.
So one of the things that I want to say is it's not something that I'm doing and that I want to do. It's something that anybody can do it. Right. Because the way I'm doing it is that I'm going to the schools and I ask them. I go to schools that you can tell that they need help. And I ask them which is the kids that really, really need this gift. And they find me the kids. And on each school, give me 50 to 25 to 50 kids. And then I come with the gift that day, that night, December 19th. Right. And that's when they got them ready for me, the kids, and we got the gifts ready for them.
And do you have a program that you give?
I work with them. I work with the schools, and they got the kids ready for me. And what they do, we're going to any place where it's private, and it's only me and 3 kids and the teachers. And I talk to the 3 kids, and then they move, and then they send me another 3 kids. So that can be a surprise for each.
Oh, that is nice. So you get a chance to speak to everybody that you actually give a toy to.
Oh, yeah, that's the reason why.
Okay, and you can give them a hug if they need a hug. You can talk. That is great.
It's awesome. Really, the gift is more for me than them.
Yeah.
Because one kid, I give him the gift, and then I was talking to them, and when I told him, come on, give me a hug, he throw the gift away.
And he came. Are you serious?
And that's what I knew. I was like, yeah, I know that kids they need more a hug than
exactly.
Than a gift.
That is so important, Francisco. That is so important. Okay, so before we forget, because some people can check in for 5 minutes and leave or whatever. So tell me, how can they? Who do they send these gifts to? Come on.
They can send it to me. They can look for me on Facebook right now. It's on my name, Francisco Melendez. And they can send me a message, and I can give them my phone number. They can call me.
do you have a tag that they can, because there are a lot, I'm sorry, Francisco Melendez is sort of like a popular Latino name now. Come on now. I mean, there are a lot of Francisco Melendez, buddy. So, I mean, what I'll do, for those of you that are listening, what I'm going to do is after, later on, Francisco is going to give me direct an address and so forth that I can plug into the system that you guys can tag onto and send, you'd want Amazon to send them to have Amazon deliver.
I mean, it's just one way to do it. I mean,
right.
Easier way for people just to be sitting down and look for a toy.
And then just send it to you. Okay, and then I'll give them an address to send it to, etc. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so we won't necessarily do this on here, but we'll give an address to send it to for the people who want to donate. Yeah. Now, well, look, that is great info, and I think that is so commendable what you're doing. And I like what you said, because it's sort of, you're doing this on sort of that social a social service, sort of. And you know, in the service that I do with politics, I mean, I like what you just said, and that everybody can do it.
Yes.
And the same thing that I'm saying with getting our politics together, everybody can do it. All of us should be doing this sort of a thing. Yes. Francisco, I'm going to be doing some of that gift stuff with you. You're going to have to do some of the politics, man. I just asked you some political questions, and you weren't good at the political questions, brother. We're going to have to fix that, man. But look, let me get into some politics, and then we're going to come back to you, because I want folks, you know, I like to do that. I don't want to just stick on one subject. I want to other people that are going to come in later on to hear what you have to say, because what you have to say is quite a bit. But anyhow, folks, let me tell you, I hope you were here when we spoke about about Obama moving back and saying, well, he necessarily doesn't want either Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders. What I'm going to do since I had you guys waiting for a while, what I'm going to do is, before I go to the blog of the week, I'm going to go ahead and take this phone call on line 1. So line 1, come on in. You're on. Caller, you're on. Okay, Lupita, that person on number 1. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, I'm Scott. Yeah, well, I have been reading on the internet that all the Democratic contenders are absolutely terrible.
Say that again?
I said I've been reading on the internet, like Facebook and other places, that all the Democratic contenders for president are absolutely terrible.
Really? In what regards?
There's a different complaint about every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really? So tell me, what I want to hear from you is, first of all, is that what you believe, or is that what you read?
What I read. Some of them are socialist, and some of them are corporatist, and I'm wondering how much of this is Russian propaganda.
No, it's not Russian propaganda at all. You see, let me tell you what's going on, and I would like other callers to talk about that as well. A lot of people are talking about Russian everything that goes wrong right now that we don't like on the Democratic side. Many people are going to say this is Russian propaganda.
Well, don't you think it's likely that Russians are trying to stir up dissension?
Of course, there's no doubt about that. But there's nothing new about that. I mean, Russia is a very good excuse right now. Russia has been trying to destroy America for a long time. And they've been involved in our election just like we have been involved in other people's elections for a long time. So, I mean, what Russia is doing is terrible. We have known Obama knew what Russia was doing. Trump knows what Russia was doing, and we work within those confines. It is time now for us to understand that the same work that Russia did to help Donald Trump get elected, we didn't need Russia to do that. The work that they did, Donald Trump could have paid any marketing agency to do. We have to take responsibility for winning. Progressives, Democrats have to take responsibility for winning. Don't be looking at somebody else to say because that is the modus operandi. The Russians will try to influence our election, no doubt about it. Now, are you going to complain about it, or are you going to do something about it? You see what I'm saying?
Well, in one specific case, I did do something on Facebook. Somebody had an article charging that Buttigieg was lying about something. And I said, could this be Russian propaganda? I haven't gotten an answer so far.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, right? Everything people are going to ask or put it through the prism of Russia propaganda. And, it could be true, but you know what?
Okay, but please note that I ask. I did not say it is.
Right. And
I was asking because I have some doubts about this particular thing. Now, Buttigieg strikes me as a little more conservative than I am.
Yes, he is very conservative.
But I can certainly support him if he's a nominee.
Right.
And he is fellow gay. I posted an article about him, which is not that I'm supporting him, but it talks about how he is a kind of gay man who has to be keep his emotions under tight discipline. We all have to. We gay men have long had to censor our feelings.
Right.
Not reveal all of our thoughts.
Right.
Keep a lot of things secret.
Right.
Yeah. I can't just go like some of these straight men and make goo-goo eyes at other guys.
Right.
Some of them could beat the hell out of me.
Right. Anyhow, let me tell you one other thing here, Scott, okay?
Yeah.
What I want people to stop doing, right? Right now, there's a lot of misinformation going out there. And I don't know if you heard the portion that I spoke about President Obama, which I think what President Obama is doing is very dangerous. I think what assuming what Politico said is correct, what President Obama doing is very dangerous. But it's not only that it's dangerous, but what it's going to do is there's a whole lot of millennials, Gen Zs, and young Gen Xers that's going to take that as the Democratic Party being on the take of the corporatocracy, and they would not be wrong. Because it is true that President Obama, after leaving office, has taken very large honorarias from the Wall Street. He took a $400,000 thing for one gift. Don't you think that comes with a price? Meaning you're likely to support those people's values that are not the values of the average American citizen. I have a hold on a second. I got a blog to read when I'm done answering these last few calls that I'm going to talk about the free stuff trope that everybody wants to talk about, because what happens, we are talking about a sort of a war right now. And unfortunately, the war is not between, let's say, Republicans and Democrats. It's between the haves and the have-nots. And that's not cliche here, but it's also between the establishment of the Republican Party, the establishment of the Democratic Party, together using the same tropes against the middle class and having the middle class captive as with that syndrome, the Stockholm syndrome. But I'll go into that later on. Go ahead.
The recent issue of Time Magazine has an article about the economy and how, this is, I think, certainly characterized the Obama administration, that Democrats like Obama have sought a win-win solution.
Right.
In other words, the rich can, both the average people and the rich can win, have a solution where both win.
Well, look,
but it doesn't seem to be that way.
No, well, the rich can't lose. The rich has never lost, okay? Let's get that clear. The rich has never lost. And the rich cannot lose. I don't think one of the biggest problems in America is people don't understand what rich really is. Okay, they think rich is somebody who has $10 million or $15 million or $20 million. That ain't rich. That is having money that you can, that is financial security. And there are a few percentage of Americans that have financial security.
Haven't there been wealthy people who've gone broke? In fact, I know a former business owner who went broke.
Yeah, but you know what's so funny about it? The wealthy people have different ways of going broke than the average person going broke. Remember how many times Donald Trump went broke?
Didn't Glenn McCarthy have a lot of ups and downs?
Yes. But what I'm saying is, if you take a look at people who have had capital, even after they've lost everything, somehow they're able to get capital again. A poor person who has lost their home, try getting a loan. You can't get it. But Donald Trump would have no problem because there are other avenues within the capitalist structure that creates places for those people who have been chosen to be a part of it. But I'll get into that some other time. Oh, I lost the caller that was on, the other caller. I guess you and I went a little bit too long, Scott.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you so kindly. You have a good one, okay?
Yeah.
All right, folks. We're going to start going to the blog of the week, and then we'll go ahead and do that. So as soon as Lupita get ready for the blog of the week.
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay. Now, the blog of the week came to me because I'm sort of mad. I am mad that we have Democrats using Republican tropes. But then again, are they really Republican tropes? Or is it what people really feel? So the title of the blog is Progressives Want to Stop Rich and Wealthy from Ripping Us Off for Their Free Stuff. Okay? Here it goes. You can bet your soul that both establishment poll tested the free stuff trope. I listen to purported progressives read centrists and conservatives alike, and it is amazing how many fall for the trope. So, why is the free stuff trope so powerful? Why does it elicit such a carnal response? The trope creates the false belief that someone or some group is getting something for nothing. In other words, stuff that is either taken away from you or you must work hard to pay for with your hard-earned dollars. Our controllers are successful in doing this because they set the initial narrative and they have the means to keep it in your psyche, but no more. It is time that we make the narrative reflect reality. Let's be clear. The majority of able-bodied Americans are very hard workers. Don't you work very hard, Francisco?
Yeah.
You're a very hard worker. You work harder than any politician. You work harder than any stockbroker. You work harder than any money manager. But guess what?
I make way less money.
You not only that, you create something. Hell, I've seen your work. Mm-hmm. You create something. They create, you know what? Nothing. You know where they make their money? You know when you're doing a remodel on your house, on a house. You know when you buy your marble or you buy other products. You know who profits from it? Yeah, you make a little bit of money, but you know who makes a big profits on it? The guys that do nothing. The guys who pay somebody else to cut the marble who you buy to put somewhere else. A lot of us don't understand the concepts, but we're going to get there. Continuing, let's be clear. The majority of able-bodied Americans are very hard workers. The reason freeways and trains are clogged every day is that there is a huge workforce doing the same thing day in and day out. The people controlling our airwaves and media loves showing the exceptions. They love showing the bomb on the street corner on welfare. They love showing unwed mothers with children from different men monopolizing on ever-declining welfare checks and food stamps. Ironically, in the same neighborhoods where they show this, they don't show the thousands of minimum wage workers commuting to a dead-end job, making someone else wealthy with their cheap labor. But you see, it is all about a narrative to control you. Remember that. It's all about a narrative to control you. You're designed to think, oh, look at those other people. They're trying to take your money. The media rarely quantifies the dire straits more recent generations are in right now. They talk about a generation living with their parents, but fail to explain in detail who created those chains, who enslaved those kids to the life that they now have. They want you to believe that these millennials don't work as hard as anybody else. Oh, no, they don't, right? We so much work harder. Well, guess what? Well, I'll talk about that when I talk about the minimum wage. They rarely explain that price and power give a certain group the power and authority to take any marginal increases in your pay, preventing you from ever saving, developing wealth, or moving ahead. Progressives must point out how it is wealthy and the plutocracy are getting all this stuff for free. It is not progressives giving away free stuff. It's progressives trying to take back some of the free stuff we gave to you. Let's get the narrative right. Progressives are trying to take back what we gave to you freely. So what did we give to you freely? You want examples? A lot of people tell me sometimes, oh, when you talk about the rich like that, you just talk in hyperboles and you don't exactly say how it is that they're getting stuff for free. So let me tell you, and I'm not done writing the blog, but I'm going to tell you this out of my head. Mining products, all the companies that mine oil, mine gold, mine all these other things, right? Did they put it there? No, they didn't. Did they put the oil in the ground? No, they didn't. Did they put the gold in the ground? No, they didn't. Did they put the coal in the ground? No, they didn't. But somebody buy the rights to a land, and to be clear, a land that was once roamed mostly by the indigenous. But we took that land, we started to mine that stuff, and in mining that stuff, did the value of that mostly go to the American citizens who, given that we now are all owners of this country, did we get that? No. A few people got it. A few people make the profits from that. That is free stuff. The commons, all of us people, are given to the oil companies. We are given that. Those high-priced oil executives, that's not that they earn or deserve that money. That is because we decided, because we don't know much, we give them those high values. That person who is taking care of your lawn, that garbage man, is doing more than most of those people sitting down in the office. And I always used to give a comment where I said, my stockbroker is worth a lot less than my garbage man. Okay? My stockbroker is worth less to me than my garbage man. I don't have a stockbroker anymore. Ya que comencé con this stuff about, I don't have stockbrokers anymore. So, but what can I say? Externalities from product use. You want to know what is free? When you go down to Pasadena, Texas, when you go to California, Berkeley, California, where you go, all these places where you can find refineries or mine-ins, places that pollute the air, places that pollute the water, places that pollute the soil. Guess who pays for the health damage, for your health care damage? You do. And because you are going to pay for that health care damage, that plutocrat who owns that oil company, all the shareholders who own the oil companies, who own the mining companies, who own all these companies, they make more money because they don't have to clean up all the mess that they created. That's free stuff. You never get that narrative. That is free stuff that you give them. Drug development. Our tax dollars go to universities that develop drugs. All these drugs that get developed at our universities, right? And when it's time to market the drugs, some private company comes and buy the rights to use the drug, and they make billions of dollars on those drugs. That's free money. That's your money. That's investment you're not getting back. So no, progressives are not looking for free stuff. They're looking to be paid back for what they paid for. And unless we get the narrative correct, unless we get the narrative right, that we are not asking for something, we are not begging for something, we are not asking for anything for free. We've already paid this stuff forward. We have already paid for this, people. You have to get it within your soul. You have to get it within your minds. You have to unlock the chains that they put your mind in with false advertising, with false narratives. You have to do that. We first have to start from the place of knowing what is really happening. Unpaid labor. I talked to you about them complaining about, the unwed mother, those welfare recipients. But you somehow go to those communities and you see cars and traffic and everything, phones ringing, calls and traffic all over the place. These people are going to work. They're working their butts off for minimum wage. They can't even pay the rent with that minimum wage. They're paying the rent to some plutocrat who probably owns a real estate agency that is charging them an arm and a leg for something they paid little for. You want to talk about free stuff, people? Free stuff is whoever has pricing power within our economic system. You can have the semblance of richness. You can have the semblance of value. But the people who have values are the people flipping those burgers, are the engineers who are designing those bridges, are the doctors who are curing the people. The investors aren't worth niet. Since when is capital producing anything? Capital cannot produce a damn thing. You know what capital produces? Capital is the reason it's called capitalism. It says somehow doing nothing can dominate those who do something. You have to look at it from the right point of view. And all of us have to remove the slave chains from our minds, because what happened is we were taught these laws that are not divine. We've taught these laws. They are not etched in stone. We've taught these laws of how an economy works. But that was created, that economic system was created to enrich a few, not you, a few and the chosen, those who we choose to bring into the fold. So whether you're executive of a corporation, whether you're or whatever, you remember this. You didn't get there solely on meritocracy, because there are a lot of people just as meritorious as you are. There are a lot of people just as meritorious. I wrote ComDRV, this communication program that allowed these things to speak to satellites and other communication utilities. But you know what? There are 100 other guys that could write this software as well. When I had my business, I was chosen. What I'm trying to tell people is simple. Don't fall for the crap. We are all in this together. Unpaid labor, when that person works for minimum wage and that person makes millions and millions of dollars because they pay him. Jeff Bezos worth $160 billion, not anymore. His wife took a bunch of it. But Jeff Bezos making all that money, that's not his money. That is money he didn't pay his people. That is their excess labor that he's living on. Debt, the interest on debt. Remember school debt before Obamacare came about? All the school debt was guaranteed by the government. The government ran their program through private banks. If you didn't pay, the private banks got made whole by the government. But if you paid, they continued to make a ton of interest. So they had no risk. I thought profit was you had profits because you wanted people to take risk. So people, don't ever fall for the crap. I'm going to the phones now, and then later on I'm going to come back to my buddy here, Francisco, for him to tell us more about his program. And he has a story that I want to talk about. All right, go ahead. Line number one. Come on in. You're on.
Hello?
Yes, turn the radio down, my dear friend.
Okay. How are you today?
I am doing fine. Talk to me.
Well, I just don't know where to begin today. I mean, Francisco, you're doing a great thing.
Thank you, sir.
But, Egberto, what you're saying, where do you want to start? I mean, the Democrats, the candidates all want to give you, promise everything free.
No. I'm glad you started there. I'm so happy you started there.
But there is nothing free in this world. Somebody has to pay for it.
Yes, I agree. And I'm so happy you started there, because you and I can now get into a conversation about why it's not free. It's not. Progressives don't want to give anything to anybody for free at all.
Well, that's not true.
Tell me why it's not true, sir. Please tell me.
Every single one of them raised their hand on stage and said they would give free health care to illegal aliens.
Okay, let me stop you right there.
We have people in this country that don't have health care, and they want to give it away.
I'm so glad you said that. Health care isn't something that you can give away. Okay, and that is where I told you. Remember, let me ask you to do me a favor. I listen to everything you say, right? With an open mind. I want you to now listen to me with an open mind. Okay, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Listen to me with an open mind. Healthcare is not something you ought to ever talk about giving them for free. And let me explain to you. If you have, and I don't call folks illegal aliens, I call them undocumented workers or undocumented people. And the reason I do this, sir, is because in many times the border crossed them and they didn't cross the border. But even better than that, we who have a poor history, when we came here, we came to conquer. They came here, they were coming here for a job. Big difference. But let me go to the point. The point is as follows, and it's an important point. Let's just go to the logical thing. If you have undocumented workers here without health care and somebody has typhus or somebody has measles or somebody have whatever and they don't have health care, because you're denying them health care because of some cost, then you can infect many more people because of your stance on, I don't want to give those undocumented workers healthcare. So the logical thing is simple. The logical thing is everybody in any country should have the healthcare of that country. First of all, the people that you want to call undocumented, they are such a small percentage of the total population in the totality of things. It doesn't make much difference. Remember what I spoke about earlier about carnality, about narrative. The idea is to make the narrative so that what is your name again, sir?
My name's Jeff.
Jeff, the idea is we want to make you mad, Jeff. We want to make it that you feel like you're working so hard for somebody else to get something for free while you're busting your butt. That's
true.
I
true.
know.
Here with the Lone Star card.
There you go.
Let grocery store.
Let me explain that to you now.
Driving a Cadillac.
There you go. That again, I love that.
I'm over here busting my butt with coupons.
And guess what, brother? You know what? Let me tell you. First of all, let me tell you that I respect you, right? Because you're working hard. You're working hard like me. You're working hard like Francisco, right? But here's the deal, brother. That welfare thug that you're talking about that's driving that Cadillac, right, is not the norm. I know that's what we need to make that the norm so that you can get pissed off. That's what we have to do. Jeff, honestly, let me tell you, Jeff, the amount of people on food stamps that you don't see. If you go to and not only that, if you look at food stamps, are you white or black or Latino or what? What are you?
I'm white.
Okay, here's the deal. Let me talk to you as a white guy now. All right? Here's the deal. The idea is, here's what we try to do. We try to make white guys like you feel like you're working so hard for them black and brown people who are driving a Cadillac or whatever, and that's why you want to cut these programs. But here's the deal, and they make it that way. Even the TV news make it look that way for you. That's what they want they want that piece of you to activate in your brain. But here's where most of that welfare is going. Most of that welfare is going, you know where the Appalachia is, right? The Appalachian Trails, all the way from Pennsylvania, all the way down to Alabama. White people, bunch of white people that have the same behavior of the people on food stamps in the ghettos and the people on food stamps in the barrios and the people taking. All of the behaviors are the same because, like I've spoken to people a long time ago, all these behaviors are socio-economic. It's not racial, it's not cultural, it is socio-economic. But what they do is they want to trigger you. And they've done a good job in triggering you. If you listen to me now, if you listen to what I'm trying to promote as a true progressive, I'm saying I don't want to give things for free. There are people that are going to fall through the cracks. We're going to have here and there that guy driving the Cadillac who is on welfare and on Lone Star. We're going to have that falling through the cracks. That's going to happen. Okay? Did you get are you going to get as mad when you go to the store and realize you don't have pricing? But did you get as mad when you're paying for health insurance, not because the price of health insurance go up, but because they promised the shareholders 7% increase in their 7% growth in their stocks every year? They have price and power. They can do that. And that's my point. That's why you and I need to work together. We need to work together as to where the problem really is. The problem ain't those poor people in the barrios, the ghettos, and Appalachia. They are minimal. The amount of money that they take out of the system is so small compared to where the big problems are. And what I ask people who listen to Politics Done Right to do is continue listening to what we're talking about, read my blogs and all of that. You'll see the problems are not where we think they are. We must make you believe that so that you can continue to vote against your interests for people that are doing nothing for you. Because your health insurance, you should be able to take a card, go for health insurance, and not be cutting those damn coupons. But brother, I know I'm not completely convincing yet, but you stay with me, and we'll.
No,
I know.
And somebody still has to pay for it.
No, okay. Let me talk about. No. Let me talk about that now. You ever heard of something called modern monetary theory?
No.
Okay. What is money?
Money is a representation.
Okay, let me tell you something. If there is a job to be done, right? If there are potholes to fix, if there are all these things to do, and let's say there are also able-bodied people ready to do the work, we should be able to solve that, right? If there are potholes to fill and there are people to do the jobs, we should be able to. Money should not be something that stops us from doing the job, right? It's only because of the way we think of money. And what happens is in this country, in our capitalist society, we've declared money a certain thing for the rest of us. In other words, I'm going to use a technical term. If you don't understand it, I'm going to ask you to. You can write me a letter or you can look it up or whatever. We talk about something called modern monetary theory that says the following: if we need to fill that pothole and the government says they don't have any money, as the sole proprietor of the dollar, we should print the money and fix the damn hole. And people say, oh, that's going to cause inflation. Oh, no, because we've been doing it. I mean, when the economic system blew up, we did it. We just don't do it for poor people. We just don't do it for middle-class people. Look up the word quantitative easing. Quantitative easing is what we did for the banks to create more money so that they could stay afloat. But we never do that for the student loans. We never do that for anything. We need quantitative easing for student loans. When you talk about we don't have the money to do it, yes, we do. Do quantitative easing for the student loans. You want to go ahead and pay for these other things that we know need to be paid for, quantitative easing in other ways. And you say cause inflation. We prove it won't. And the reason it won't is because we don't have real scarcity. That's another economic term. If you don't get, please look it up. We create scarcity so that we can enrich a few and allow others to be indentured servants. And you and I and Francisco, we are indentured servants. And what I have to try to change the narrative so that you can see that we have a false scarcity and a false thing about we don't have the money to pay for it, or that somehow you are going to pay for it. It's not you that's going to pay for it. It's our system. Our economic system needs to be designed to do it, and it can be. And the reason it isn't is a few who wants to enrich themselves. Stay with me, brother, and we'll keep talking this stuff through, all right?
All right.
You have a great day, brother.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right, line number 2. Come on in. You're on.
Egberto?
Yeah, talk to me.
Egberto?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. One of the things I kind of take exception to, by the way, this is John from Bel Air.
Hey, John, how you doing, brother?
How you been, sir?
I've been fine. Talk to me.
One of the things I take exception to is when you're kind of demonizing the term shareholders.
Sure.
And, I'm out working every day, and yet I'm a shareholder in companies and investments and everything else.
I need to stop you right there. John, I need to stop you. For all the shareholders out there, I want to give... John is absolutely right. John is absolutely right. My apologies for the demonization of shareholders. I should find a different way to define the particular shareholders I'm talking about. Continue, please, John.
Well, I just mean to say that, part of the progressive argument, and I don't agree with a lot of it,
right,
as you're well aware, but part of the progressive argument is the language used.
Yes.
Because there are those of us, I worked for almost 20 years in one particular chemical company, and
yes,
I was invested in the 401k.
Yes.
And when you start demonizing the financial world, you're demonizing what a lot of people out there, even today, are using for their future retirement,
yes,
alongside of Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of makes the argument, makes people automatically turn their ears away.
You're right.
Because obviously we want the stock market to do well.
Yes.
Because we, normal citizens, are invested in it.
Right. Let me tell you, John, I can't disagree with what you're saying. Unfortunately, I cannot. And just like everybody else, we have to find ways to speak in a manner to address what you hear. You see what I'm saying? I do. Because what I'm saying is absolutely correct, and I know that you know that. I have to be different in order to make it that I am not against what your 401k or anything of that nature. What I want will protect your 401k. What I want will do all those things. I just have to be more cognizant of how to express that. So I get it.
And again, I'm just trying to say I'd like to get to the point where you can bridge and have a conversation, right, between the conservatives and progressives. But a lot of times I think that's what rubs the masses raw, is when they hear language that's demonizing what's a very important part of their life and their future life.
You know what, though, John? You've proven in talking to me because you hear what I say, and you know where in my heart, if you will, where my values come from. So in doing that, you understand that there can be conversation, because we're not talking about demonizing the people. We're talking about the system. So, but again, I have to listen to what I'm not trying to preach to the choir. I'm trying to get to you as well. So I have to find a way to do so.
And I understand. I mean, my job is sales. My job is communicating effectively to people
exactly.
to get them to want to buy my product, goods, and services.
Yes.
And so I can take what you're saying, and I understand the good nature and the graciousness behind the ideas you're espousing. But I also recognize that other people don't listen to it with as refined an ear as I or somebody else.
But let me tell you, but then that means you have a job to do as well. And I put this particular onus on you, though. Just like you called in here to kind of put that in my ear, I think with the conservatives that you speak to, you know better than a lot of the crap that's going on there. So you should also do your part there. And, I thank you for doing your part here. So, I mean, that is how we operate. And if we really all do that, take a look at the stuff that I did with the Bridge Alliance, because this is what we are trying to do. We're trying to make those bridges in such a manner that people understand where, even with different wording, where people are coming from.
And I understand that, but where you and I where the rubber and the road meet is, I got no qualms with how much money Bezos has or what he's worth, because it's really all just in stock value.
Right, but
it's not like he's Scrooge McDuck, sitting on a pile of gold coins in a swimming pool.
Hey, I got to go to Francisco again because I want him to tell a story. But I mean, here's the deal: I do have a problem with the amount of money he has. So let's talk about that the next thing that I have, because I think by him having that money, it actually because we're a closed system, it affects everybody else. But we'll talk about that another time.
Have a great holiday. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Happy holiday, brother. Bye-bye. Okay, Francisco, before I'm coming to the next line in a minute, but I want to tell, Francisco has a story that was very touching to me that I want him to tell. Francisco, you were doing some work around town. You're a contractor, a builder. You do quite a bit of stuff, and you got shot.
Yes, actually, it was on my way home. I went to these places where it's open 24 hours, where they catch a check, and I needed to make a payment, so I got I think a money order, and two kids. Actually, they were kids. They followed me like 20 minutes from my house, all the way to my house, and right in front of my door, they came with gunpoint, and I told her she's gonna try to give my money, but this guy pointed right straight on my head, and I was like, oh, wow, this is serious. And then he shot. Well, good thing that I moved, and the shot just went through my front door. And I just went on the ground, and he shot me again, and he hit me on my thigh.
On your thigh.
And I gave him my wallet and everything. And then when they got him, I find out that it was an 18 and a 16-year-old. And that really shocked me. I was like, oh, my God.
Let me tell you why that. First of all, I'm glad that you're okay. I'm glad all worked out fine. But what got me is your reaction to the two kids. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you thought, what you said?
Well, to me, I mean, I wasn't mad. I wasn't shocked that it were two young kids. Like, I mean, he shoot me right on my head. He was
right.
Kill me. And on my mind was like, how? I mean, they're like 18-year-old with no, I mean, just no sword. I mean, there's like how bad his life was to turn a kid like this.
Right.
So to me, I was really sad for them, because the one who shot me, he got like 25 years in jail, and I don't even know about the other one. But I was like, okay, their life is already is gonna be in jail his rest of his life, and so to me, I was like, someone needs to do something about it. Someone needs to go and help these kids. But at 18 and 17-year-old,
right? They already
screwed. And so that's why I was thinking more about go to the youngest one, like 5-7-year-olds.
And that's why I like what you're doing, because you're putting your actions where for what you actually are talking about, because you said something was wrong there, and now you're starting to try to talk to kids at a younger age, which I think is where we have to reach them, talking to them at a younger age.
Yes.
And, a lot of us are coming out of, private. You're doing it as a private citizen. By the way, he's doing this all along. By the way, folks, on my website, I'm going to put where to send those toys to Francisco so that he can, so that he'll be giving out. I think you wanted to do over a couple hundred this year. Right? You did 100 and something last year.
On 2 weeks, I was trying to get 100 gifts for 100 kids,
and
we got 153 in 2 weeks.
Wow!
And we stayed late, wrapped the gifts and everything.
And you did it. You made it.
So this year, we're trying to hit 200 kids, but I'm sure we're gonna do more than that.
Yeah, but you know what is great? Like I said, you got shot, and you said these kids, you felt like where was the soul to that they could just look at your life and it had no value, and you have to start. And that kid that you just spoke about earlier, that you gave him a toy. And when you talk about give me a hug, he threw the toy away and he came to give you the hug.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah, that's
powerful.
Yeah, and really that's what I was thinking about. Like, okay, I see people just giving bikes and just toys to the kids, but I mean they just put like 100 toys on the table and everybody just pick them up. But where's that like sentimental stuff? Really, I mean, where's that hug? Where's the?
I love that, brother. I love that.
Yeah, and when the kid throw the toy away to get the hug, that's when I was like, okay, this is what they want. This is what they need.
And that human interaction is probably what was missing with those guys that shot you.
Yes,
definitely. I mean, and that is, if people don't understand, I remember people gave Clinton a hard time about midnight basketball and all of that. They don't understand that to cherish that is what you have to do. You have to be in these kids' life. You don't just throw a little bit of money there and call it a day.
Yes.
You have to have value within it.
Yes.
Let me take this last call and then I will close out. Okay, caller, you're on.
Yeah, just a quick story.
Yes.
With a moral, we can save a whole lot of money instead of printing new money and just throwing it out in big basket loads. So, for example, saving money, especially for college students. Back when I went to the University of Houston in 1969, 70, and 71, the tuition was $100.
Yes, I remember. Yes,
a semester.
Yes.
Now it's something like $6,000 a year, and it's up to $6,000 because they figured that they're going to pay their professors more and their football.
What is your name, sir?
Coaches more.
What is your name?
The football coach at this time gets from the University of Houston $4 million for a 6 months long season, and that's ridiculous.
Okay, hold on a second. That is ridiculous. But I want to tell you something. Okay, that's another trope that they're using. The truth of the matter is that $6,000 isn't because of that $4 million payment that coach is getting, because the football program brings in more money than that. And by the way, I am not for paying any coach that kind of money, but I'm saying that the money that the football brings in is more than goes out. But that said, I want to tell you one other thing. The real reason why we are in the condition we are with schools, don't believe what those liars are telling you on mainstream media. The real reason is because we've stopped taxing corporations appropriately. Okay, do not fall for the crap. That is the reason we've reduced the amount of tax. That's the same reason why our high schools are making or can't survive and all of that. We are paying less taxes from the corporations, etc. Hey, I gotta go. I appreciate you.
HISD wastes money just like the U of A.
I understand. I understand. We'll talk another time, my friend. I called back, but you have a wonderful day. Let me tell you, Francisco, I really do appreciate you coming in. I really love your story.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. So give me a 5-second closer.
Well, I really wanted to do this, and I really want everybody to go to it because everybody can have this.
And we're going to get it done. Egberto Willis, Politics Done Right. We are out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.